I think the voters have the upper hand. So, if we see the type of voter participation that we have seen since the last elections when Donald Trump was elected, people want to express themselves. I see this in Maryland. I see it all over the nation. So I think you're going to see a large number of people who normally don't participate in midterms coming out to participate. I think that's going to help Democrats. I think you're going to see a blue wave. I think you'll see a very large blue wave, and it will have consequences in both the House and Senate.
We're not seeing yet evidence of a tsunami?
But they can't have it. There's no tsunami. There's no tsunami.
Do we have the chart we've been following? Where do they stand right now? The Democrats need 21 more.
Yeah, they've had 2 pickups.
Yeah.
I thought you made the important point. We've been sitting here an hour.
Yeah.
And they've had 2 pickups.
That's what I just said.
An hour ago, 2 pickups, right?
I did all my homework, Chuck.
Yes,
we have like 70 competitive House districts, only 2 Democratic pickups so far. This is not a blue wave.
It is not a blue wave.
Let's first look at these brand new numbers from CNN in a new poll conducted by SSRS in the gubernatorial contest between Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum and Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis. Take a look at this. We are showing among likely voters a 12-point advantage for Gillum.
We go to NBC's Kerry Sanders. He's covering the Florida governor's race. He joins us from Democrat Andrew Gillum's headquarters in Tallahassee. What's the scene there?
Well, I'm on the campus of Florida A&M here at FAMU, where Andrew Gillum actually graduated in 2003. He is a rattler, and he's got a lot of support here. If he is elected, he will become the first black president. He will become the first black governor here in Florida.
Now, DeSantis, welcome to Florida, right? DeSantis is up by about 30,000 votes here.
Florida Senate race, we are also seeing that Democratic enthusiasm that we're seeing nationally play out here as well. We show among likely voters in this poll a race that is within the margin of error and will likely remain so, but has Nelson on top with 50% to Governor Rick Scott's 45% among likely voters.
Let me show you in the Senate race. Rick Scott is up about 10,000 votes. So they've pretty much been in sync off and on.
When you look at Florida, when you look at, Rick Scott right now is in the lead in Senate with 55,000 votes, and Gillum has been, it's been extraordinary.
Florida's a disappointment.
Florida's a real, because
Hot off the presses right now in the key Indiana Senate race. We've got the incumbent Democratic senator, 3 points in a 3-way race, according to our new NBC News Mayor's poll of likely voters.
CBS News projects that Democrats have lost a Senate seat that Republicans have picked up. A seat in the Hoosier state, Indiana. Mike Braun is the winner.
Let me tell you something about Indiana. It's a lean Republican state most years. In wave years for Democrats are when they win Indiana.
Oh, I got a call to make right now.
They didn't win Indiana.
Well, the Senate race in Texas is gaining national attention ahead of November's midterms, and one poll is giving an edge to the Democrats. A recent Ipsos Reuters poll gives Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke a 2-point advantage over Republican Senator Ted Cruz.
Look at this. CNN projects in tennis. Senator Ted Cruz, the incumbent Republican, will beat the Democrat Beto O'Rourke. Ted Cruz will remain in the Senate for another 6 years.
There are going to be a lot of very disappointed Democrats who saw the numbers that Beto O'Rourke was able to put on the board early on in this and got their hopes up.
Here in Missouri, a CBS News poll shows Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill locked in a tight battle with Republican Josh Hawley, each at 45%.
McCaskill leads among women. Hawley is ahead among men. One of the key issues here has been health care, and as a result, the attacks have been brutal.
All right, Claire McCaskill in a concession speech to her supporters. NBC News projects that Hawley will win there in the Missouri Senate race, and in fact, he is speaking, we're told, right now. Josh Hawley, let's listen.
Tennessee is doubling down on Trumpism tonight.
We do have another result coming in. It's coming in from the Senate. Marsha Blackburn, we were just talking about that. Marsha Blackburn will win the Senate seat in the state of Tennessee. Marsha Blackburn, that is a hold for the Republicans. Pretty good trade for President Trump there in Tennessee. The outgoing Republican Senator Bob Corker, frequent Trump critic, now he gets a hardcore supporter.
Yeah, a complete 180 there. I mean, President Trump was getting a lot of pushback from Bob Corker. He was one of the few Republicans in the Senate who was very, wasn't shy, was happy to speak his mind, happy to take on President Trump. Now the exact opposite.
And CNN projects that Republicans will maintain control of the United States Senate. This is an important win for President Trump and for the Republican Party.
So Democrats are not winning in the way they were hoping to win early in the night.
But so far, it just has to be said, the Democrats are having, so far, a lot of vote to come in, a disappointing night.
They are not winning where they thought they were going to win. We had 7 potential pickups in the state of Florida. Republicans have held on to 5 of those seats already. Democrats have only picked up 1. We're still waiting for vote count on there.
This is heartbreaking, though. It's heartbreaking. The hope has been that the antibodies would kick in, that this sort of infestation of hatred and division would draw a response from the American people, really in both parties, to say no and no more. That does not seem to be happening tonight. It's not a blue wave, but it's still a blue war.
But at the end of the day, Donald Trump and his followers are still intact if it stays the way that we're seeing it right now. And a big reason for that, I believe for some time, is the economy. The fact is the economy is chugging right along. We've got the greatest job creation since the 1960s. That's always an important factor when you're in a presidential election or any kind of an election year.
Once again, CNN projects Republicans are holding on to control of the United States Senate.
Well, at this point, Republicans are saying that at the end of the night, or it's likely that we're going to say that, you know what, a lot of people still like President Trump. That is, for them, why this might be a better night for them than a lot of them expected. A lot of my Senate sources are also saying that the Kavanaugh effect was real. You saw Joe Manchin hold on in West Virginia. He was the only Democrat that voted.
Single digits.
In single digits,
Yep.
but still, the state that went for Donald Trump more than any other state, and that's the one. They point to that, whereas, you know, Joe Donnelly losing in Indiana, of course, same thing there. And, you know, some Democrats actually starting to acknowledge maybe that tour that President Trump did in the final weeks actually worked, which, of course, was not necessarily the conventional thinking.
Once again, and this is going to embolden President Trump, because a lot of people tell him, don't do that, don't do that. Don't touch the stove on immigration. It's going to mess up suburban voters. Well, he's touching the stove, guys. And
He's
the
putting
stove,
his hands both right on it.
And the stove didn't burn him.
People feel, Republicans feel, I should say, that they are coming in perhaps more strongly than they thought that they might. Joe Donnelly had been the Democrat. He's an incumbent. He had been one that they weren't terribly worried about. They thought they were going to need to be more worried about him. But these initial signs may not be good, and that could have signs for other Senate races across the country.
The governor's races, what's happening in the state houses. Let's look at Massachusetts governor now. We can call a winner. Charlie Baker, the Republican, of course, in the Democratic stronghold state of Massachusetts.
We're at Bill Lee, the Republican, is the projected winner.
Yeah, Maryland governor, it's Larry Hogan who takes the race there. Again, Maryland, another so-called blue state where you have a red governor. Now, Alabama's governor, Kay Ivey, elected there.
And check out on the Texas governor's race, and Greg Abbott, the incumbent Republican, will return for another 4 years. And the Oklahoma governor, Kevin Stitt.
In Vermont, and the Republican Phil Scott wins handily over Christine Hallquist.
Mike DeWine, the Republican, is the projected winner of the Ohio governor's race.
Andrew Gillum, the Democratic nominee for governor, is said to be conceding in Florida. I think we can go live there. Take a listen. We had been calling this too close to call, but apparently his internal pollsters know the full story. Let me just pause you right there because we do have a call to make. Iowa's governor's race, and this went down to the wire, but Kim Reynolds, the Republican, holds on, the incumbent. This was very tight down the stretch. Fred Huppel was showing some momentum, but in the end...
This is a little bit of an upset.
Okay.
Minor upset. There was a lot of Democrats really were feeling
Thought that Fred Huppel would be able to pull it off, and there's the map, but Kim Reynolds hangs on in the Iowa governor's seat.
Look at the New Hampshire governor's race. Chris Sununu is a projected winner there against the Democrat Molly Kelly.
And ABC News can now project that Democrats will win enough seats to gain control of the House. Democrats will pick up at least 23 seats in the House. We've included in our calculations several seats with later closing times, which we believe will not affect the outcome, but we are prepared to project right now that Democrats will take control of the House of Representatives. So we are heading for a split decision. We have a split decision this evening in the 2018 midterm elections. Republicans will keep the Senate. John Carl, Democrats will take the House.
Democrats got the House, but in these statewide races, no signature win for Democrats, whether it's Florida, Georgia, Texas. What's your explanation?
Look, I think the Donald Trump number, in the red Donald Trump states, that managed to put them over the top.
All right. Fred Yang, our polling team here, Casey Hunt. All right, guys, back to you. Look, the Republican Party is Donald Trump's party. This is not Donald Trump. Okay, he may have been hijacking a party, a political party back in 2016 and sort of borrowing it, but he has remade it. And he knows how to activate it. I mean, we got caught. Why is Andrew Gillum likely to lose and not win? Why is Stacey Abrams likely to lose and not win? Well, I would argue Donald Trump figured out how to get his base out. It's these rural counties. They show up in big numbers. We're in the middle of a political realignment, so Democrats are going to do well in the suburbs. But it's not enough to win some of these key statewide races.
Star power that was put into that race. Oprah coming out in favor of Abrams. Other celebrities. President Trump went down there. Is this in many ways a referendum on celebrity support?
No. What about the celebrity endorsements and campaign appearances? Did those do the trick for Democrats? Stacey Abrams in Georgia, endorsed by Oprah, lost. Beto O'Rourke in Texas, endorsed by Beyonce, and LeBron James and others, lost. Andrew Gillum in Florida, endorsed by Diddy and Chelsea Handler, losing. Phil Bredesen in Tennessee, endorsed by Taylor Swift, lost.
We learned that 2/3 of those who voted said they were voting to send a message to Trump.
Third said it had nothing to do with him.